What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Birds. Today, we are getting back into the swing of things with fantasy basketball, talking about some buy low guys, we're talking about some sell high guys, and even some waiver wire pickups that we need to be looking into going into the fantasy basketball rest of season and even into the playoffs. So, took a little bit of break off, but let's get back into some guys that we think their values are changing coming up at the end of the season. Let's hop right into it. All right, the first guy on our list is going to be Russell Westbrook, a very polarizing figure in the NBA. You either love him or you hate him, really. But we're going to talk about it from a fantasy perspective. Obviously, in real NBA, you can argue either way where you think he helped your team with his aggressive attack at the rim, playmaking, or if he hurt your team with the inefficiency and turnovers. But we're going to look at it from a fantasy perspective. A guy coming into the year last year with the Washington Wizards have a very excellent season. Pretty much what you expect from him from his entire career. But this year, off to a fairly slow start with the Lakers. Only a 21-21 record, currently sitting the 7th seed in the West for the Lakers. So not exactly what they thought they were getting when they brought Russell Westbrook in to be that third piece to AD and LeBron. But his numbers are pretty solid, 18, 8, and 8. Assist and rebound numbers up there with his career. However, slightly lower in the points department, but that's due to being on a different team, getting acquainted, and having LeBron on your team. So he's going to be the main guy on it. However, we are still buying Russell Westbrook. We know Russell Westbrook's a very up and down player, and the last 3 games have been atrocious for him and these Lakers. I mean, looking at Russell Westbrook's last 3 games, he's under 10 points in each contest, 9, 6, and 8. That's very below average for Russell Westbrook when you know he's going to need to bring those points in order to have his fantasy value be realized, given the fact that he's going to shoot very inefficiently and also turn the ball over. So in a categories league where you're relying on field goal percentage, Russell Westbrook probably not going to be your guy. However, in points leagues, I think this is a great opportunity to buy Russell Westbrook where those field goal misses and turnovers don't really have too big of an impact on total fantasy value. He's getting the rebounds. He's still getting the assists, 8 in each category and upwards. But the points just haven't been there as of late. Really been all over social media right now. Everyone hating on Russell Westbrook and how he's not helping the team and bringing this team down. However, that's only going to motivate him. We know Russell Westbrook, kind of like that Kevin Durant on social media. When he hears things, he likes to overreact, and he makes his point known in the games on live television. We love Russell Westbrook going forward, even after these 3 bad games. So we're buying Russell Westbrook in points leagues. And even in category leagues where you are punting field goal percentage and turnovers, we still think Russell Westbrook's going to have those numbers going forward towards the end of the season and ramp it up as he's getting a lot of criticism as of late. We talk about Russell Westbrook having some poor performances in the last couple of games. Exact opposite for this Lakers team. Malik Monk actually has been on fire for this team, really stepping up in Russell Westbrook's absence. However, it's Malik Monk. We don't expect him. There's a reason he was dished out of Charlotte. It wasn't just because of LaMelo Ball's emergence. Malik Monk, really not the guy we came to expect out of Kentucky. Just a volume shooter. And when he's shooting like the way he is over the past 5-6 games, yes, he's going to be very fantasy relevant. However, can this continue? I mean, he's shooting over 50% from 3-point field, averaging over 20 points per game. We've seen Malik Monk in the past 3-4 seasons. This isn't exactly his normal performance. So we believe that he's going to revert back to the mean, which is going to make room for Russell Westbrook to come back in, get those points, and be a little bit more efficient. We hope so. So Malik Monk, we are selling. We're not expecting his shooting performance to remain constant. And Russell Westbrook, we're buying as his shooting is extremely low, even worse than what we have come to expect from him. Another guy we are selling along with Malik Monk's got to be Damian Lular. Look, you hate to see Damian Lular go through this injury, just completed his surgery. Team says they're going to evaluate him in 6 weeks. However, Trailblazers team really struggling in his absence. Outside of the playoff picture, looking in, and with Damian Lillard out for an extended period of time, you just have to wonder if he's able to come back in 6 weeks, do they shut him down for the rest of the season as the team looks to rebuild and potentially trade him in the offseason? So Damian Lillard, a guy, we're not waiting on this injury. We're shipping him out if we can get anything for him in return. I do not like the idea of keeping Damian Lillard in hopes for a playoff return in fantasy. I'm all off on Damian Lillard after the surgery. We hate to see it for him. Just an easy guy to root for. But some of those other guys stepping up in his absence, we looked at are guys that we are trying to get on our teams, like an Anfernee Simmons. We think in Damian Lillard's absence, potentially for the rest of the season, he is a guy that we are looking to get on our teams at all costs. Definitely our number one waiver wire guy, if available in any formats. Past 5 games for Simmons, he's been over 35 minutes a game, averaging just over 20 points a game, even a 43-point game in one of his performances. He's clearly the guy stepping up for Damian Lillard, and we look him in his young career to make a name for himself in the upcoming weeks. Why we believe Anfernee Simmons is going to be able to keep this performance going forward is the field goal percentage. He's getting the volume, over 23 shots from a week from his previous game, 17, 15 the games before. So he's getting the volume, and he's shooting, yes, at a high clip, but it's nothing that he can't duplicate and replicate in the coming weeks. 10 for 24, 10 for 17, 6 for 15, 9 for 17. These are field goals. Nothing too crazy. We can expect him to do this going forward. And if he can keep this volume in this Portland Trailblazers offense with Damian Lillard out, Anfernee Simmons is definitely a guy we need to get off the waiver wire, and we need to be getting onto our teams at all costs. He's looking to have a breakout type end of the season for his young career. Next guy on our list is going to be Terry Rozier for the Charlotte Hornets. Terry Rozier finds himself on the sell high list quite a bit coming from last season, just because he's such a streaky player. You know, he goes on these stretches where he shoots unbelievably well. So Terry Rozier, a guy that in Kelly Oubre's average the past 4 games, he's been able to get over 24, 25 points per game the past couple of weeks. But we can't see this going forward. LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, they're going to step into these roles. Kelly Oubre Jr. coming back. We think Terry Rozier, it's a great time to sell him while his field goal percentage is extremely high. Move off of him for a guy maybe on this list as a Julius Randle that we're trying to look into buying. Julius Randle, the complete opposite perspective as a Terry Rozier, shooting the last 4 or 5 games, been averaging under 15 points a game. You cannot do this if you're going to be a top 3, 4th round pick in the draft. So while some people may be down on Julius Randle, we've seen a sample size from over a year and a half coming into last year where he really broke out as an all-star, averaging around 18, 10, and 5 this year. We expect his numbers to be slightly a little bit increased going forward. I'm not looking at the recent downturn as something that we can progressively see to come. So if I can flip a Terry Rozier, a package deal for Julius Randle while he is down, I'm hopping on that train. Julius Randle leading this Knicks team. Yes, a little bit of a disappointing year coming from last year, but Julius Randle, definitely somebody we expect to get this New York Knicks team going. He's the offense for that team, the playmaking for. He's still the guy on that team, even with the recent slump guy we're looking to grab as the volume should be there. Very consistent going forward that we saw all of last year and so far this year. So definitely a guy we're looking to grab while his value is going to be at its lowest for the entire season. No doubt about that. Julius Randle, guy we are grabbing. But that's going to do it for our fantasy basketball buy low, sell high, and even a waiver wire guy coming in to the week. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time with another episode of Fantasy Birds.